This meeting is recorded. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. It's our hope that you've had a fantastic whatever day or whatever part of the day you are. We hope that you're well, that since the last time you watched a video from us, you have grown, you have applied, and more so, you are now a profitable, scalable business. That's what we're hoping that you've reached. So this is the African MSME Collective, and we are here to ensure that businesses start, set up, build, stabilize, and scale for sustainable profitability. For us, it's important that you're sustainably profitable because we are looking to build intergenerational businesses across the continent of Africa. Yes, we are housed currently and we sit in Nairobi, but we do have a footprint and we have partners in Uganda, in South Africa specifically. We have partners in Botswana and we have partners in Nigeria. We also have a few reaches out in the diaspora, but our focus currently is to build Africa. So if you're an MSME, you want to grow. If you're a startup, you're looking for structure and systems. If you're a medium and you just want to refresh, this is the place for you. Just check in, listen to conversation, um, like the channel, hit the notification button so that when the video goes live, you are in the front seat, first row. I don't know if you remember when you used to watch videos. First row was a place you looked up at movies like this. But in this space, when you're in the first row, you get first-hand information, you are able to interact, and when we have specials, you'll be the first to get it. So come on, register, follow us, join us. This is an amazing journey. So it's been a 15-month journey, just about, and we have seen absolute growth. And what we've been doing is progressively getting to the space where we can build our businesses step by step. If you haven't caught the last series we did was on documentation, and we're looking at the importance of documenting our operations, documenting our structures, our systems, our positions. And now we will do a deep dive into what are the elements that help you assess profitability. Remember, we're looking for sustainable profitability. Those two things are important. Profitability is one, sustainable is the second. So the next few conversations will revolve around how do we track our numbers? How do we assess where we are? How do we know? Because it's one thing to run a business, it's a completely different one to know that you're making profit. So that's the conversation we're going to have going ahead. And we hope that you will join us, you will enjoy it, you will apply, and then you will come back and tell us how it helped you grow. As always, my name is Chesubire Talitwala Greg, and I am in the pilot seat today. I enjoy that particular seat. And in the co-pilot seats, I will not call it the hot seat today, is Joe Mokoko, my co-founder at the African MSME Collective. Now, this guy is a business development and sales expert. I watched him restructure deals, restructure companies. I don't have to think about those things because I know he does a good job. So, what we are putting him on the co pilot seat to have a conversation about to guide us down some certain roads is all about profitability. But, Joe, I have a question for you before we go into the whole profitability conversation. You need to have your hands on your heads. It will not be something that left field. It may be a little bit left field. So, in your 25 plus years working with MSMEs, what is the biggest thing that takes out founders when it comes to profitability?
Thank you very much, Chisubiri. What is the biggest thing that takes out founders? Them not understanding their profit margins well. And the reason why they don't understand their profit margins is the inability to distinguish between profit margins and cash flow. You need to generate a profit. But before you generate a profit, you need to manage the cash that is coming into the business. At times, most businesses are unable to distinguish these two. And they feel that because there's cash coming in, tell Chesubri, you're my coach. Good. Today lunch is on me 5-star. Am I buying you the lunch from the profit? Or am I buying you lunch from the cash that just came into the business? The inability to distinguish those two brings a problem. And by the time you're getting to restructure, you could find a business that has got very good cash coming in, but then it's not profitable. And they ask you, where is my profit? Now we start looking for the profit up the roof, on the side of the house, under the cars. We are looking for this profit, trying to figure out where did it go to. We then say, let's empty all our pockets and see if the profit is there. Yes, back to you. Thank you.
Interesting, because one of my former coaches would say that she wants to see profit in the bank, not on paper.
Profit in
And
the bank, that's big.
and is that's what you're talking about, right? On paper,
Yes,
you're profitable, but in terms of
yes,
the tangibles of your profit, there's nothing in your hand.
yes.
Okay, so then if it's a big challenge to distinguish between the two, please define for us profit margin, and cash flow.
Profit margin, and cash flow.
Mm.
Here we go. Profit margin measures the profitability of a company's either product offering or service delivery. What do I mean by that? After we have sold and the money has come in, then we have deducted all the costs associated with production of either the goods or services, including your coach's fee. Okay, I have brought you on board as a coach. Have I put that down? When I have deducted those expenses, what am I left with? That's your profit margin. If I am left with cash, and the one that you're saying you would like to see in the bank, then that's a positive measure, and that means then there is a profit margin. And then we can go further ahead and calculate what was the percentage left. For example, if I was left with 3,500, if I divide that by 10, which 10,000, which was my revenue times 100, it would give me my profit margin. And that is very important. Why? Different businesses have different profit margins. For example, if you're selling a mass market product, your profit margin per product would be very low because it's a mass market product, but you're selling volumes, okay? If you're selling a niche product, for example, whatever you're wearing on your neck, I do not expect that to have a profit margin of, let's say, like 10%. Profit margin is 100%. Why? Because the pieces are individualized. You get? Or the one that you like teaching us about, is it normally Rolls Royce or Bentley? What is that you like teaching us about? There's one you like teaching us about.
The roles.
Good, the Rolls. And you see, even tell us that, hey, you're not going to see an advertisement of a Rolls on normal TV. Why? Because that's not their clientele. You get? So for such a product, you'll find if the profit margin is less than 100%, there's a problem. And people will buy. And then there's diversified, where you mix, and you get to mix the kind of clientele that you're selling the product to. So you could find that there's a mix of mass market and a mix of segmented. And then segmented also, if I am selling not to a mass market, but to a market that is lower than a niche, then my profit margin is also different. It varies. Common denominator: after I have brought in the money, I have collected all my revenues, then I have removed my expenses. What is left in that? That is, sorry, my network is misbehaving.
I can hear you clearly.
Good. That is how we would define profit margin. And for cash flow, it is the movement of actual cash into and out of a business during a specific period. Remember, we said cash could be coming in, but you're not making a profit. Cash flow tracks that. It's tracking when did the cash come in, and it might not look at when the sale was done, or when did the cash come in, how much cash is coming in. I could sell, for example, you could sell to me your neck piece today, but you don't expect me to pay you for 2 months. But in those 2 months, the business still has to run, right?
Yes. Yes.
So cash flow is looking at, even within that period of time, how much money is coming in every day, and how are we managing that cash? Am I taking you for 5-star? Or am I taking the money and putting it back in the business? You could have one profitable sale, but because money is not coming in when it is, okay, not when it is supposed to, money is coming in at different levels, then you're having a cash flow challenge. Back to you.
So there's, me and my logical mind and wanting definition. So
Yes.
what I hear you
Yes.
say is, so profit is the difference between my production costs and my sale price. Standard definition. And then margin is the percentage of that relative to my expenditure. Because
Exactly.
profit is usually calculated once the cost of the product, all the related costs, and then what is on top.
Yes.
It's interesting how you talked about the different margins between mass market, segmented, niche market, because most of us don't quite think about that. We're looking at how much is Joe selling at. I need to match that price without doing mathematics. I'll give an example. We're running a pilot on a business entrepreneurship program for teens. And on Friday, when I was in class, we were working through how to calculate the profit margin. So then the interesting question for them was they had done direct purchase costs to sales price, but they hadn't factored in all the other costs like airtime, like something small for the team. So then once you put all those in, then your profit goes down a little bit, but you have to. So if what I'm hearing you say is that you have to have the clarity of that. When you said you add the coach's fees into your sales price. So it would be, if I'm hearing you right, let's say you pay the coach 10,000 shillings a month and you offload 20,000 products. So you would take the cost of that and appropriate a portion of it to every product. So you're able to meet expenses. That for me is a very interesting concept because most of us don't think about it like that. We just think it cost me X to build, I should sell it at Y, and then we wonder why at the end of the month there is more month than money. So,
Makes a lot of sense.
Then how do we
Uh,
now, how do we entrench that capacity to calculate? Because many of us, these calculations, it's not that we can't do them. And that's where people get it wrong. It's not that we can't do them. They just feel like a lot of work. So at what point should I be calculating my profit? Before I set the sales price, before when?
Thank you. When you've talked about it, you've just reminded me of a client that I'm currently talking to. And they were having a challenge with their profit margins and their cash flow. Because remember, cash flow is the cash coming in and getting out of your business. When it is coming in, it is, of course, from a sale. But when it is going out, what is it going out to do? Buy equipment, buy stock, renovate, pay salaries, as you've said,
Utilities.
even pay for marketing, utilities. Those are things we never look at. What I advise clients to do from my perspective, and now we were having a fight with the client because they're telling my business is not profitable and I'm putting in money and every month I'm putting in money. And I'm like, okay, so slow down, fast. Why are you putting more money in your business? See, I'm finding that I have to keep on getting money from my pocket and putting in, but every time I keep on having a negative. Have you set your prices right?
Yeah, that's a
And
pricing
I
question.
like that exactly. And you've come back and you've asked me, how do we look at it? One is understanding which business you are in and who is your target market and appropriating those costs, even if it's airtime costs, break it down across your products. You might find that the first time is you have to track. You have to be able to track those costs. I have called you and I have told you, Chesubiri, I need those neck pieces. And we have a back and forth. I've used their time to talk to you, right? Where will I appropriate that airtime?
In the sale.
Hmm?
It has to be somewhere in the sale price.
It has to be somewhere in the sale price, right? We're looking at the cost of logistics and delivery. For example, what were your teens selling?
And smokies. Snacks. Having snacks.
Snacks, eh? What's what is the cost of those snacks being delivered to them or them going to look for that snack? And then
Mm,
when they've gotten this snack and they've bought, let's say like 200 smokies, can they divide the cost of that logistics on those 200 smokies?
hmm That's
Then
what we
when they
did.
have good, then when they have done that, because remember you have direct costs and indirect costs,
Yes.
you have appropriated all this, then that shows you this is how much it's costing me per product. For example, let's use your neck piece. I'm sorry. And let's say we have done all our costs and we've come and your neck piece, our costs are coming to about 46,000 to just have that one neck piece, or even 50,000 to have the neck piece. Then ask ourselves, what is one, the industry standard? Two, what is their capital that you have deployed and you need to bring back? Then that helps you be able to decide, this is how much I am going to sell. So for example, if it's a mass market product, I know if I am doing a profit margin of 20 to 30, sometimes even between 5 to 10%, I should be okay. Now I need to sell more because I also have competition. But something like your neck piece, maybe I don't have competition. If I decide I'm putting a 60% profit margin, who else is selling that neck piece? And who is my target market? Before they start going to look for, I want that, I want to go look for that. A very interesting story. There was a vehicle that was brought into to replace the Land Rover Defender. In Kenya, it's called Ineos. And people expected because it's a locally produced thing, you know how it goes, the profit, I mean, it's going to be sold at a lower price. But hey, you and I know who was buying the Land Rover Defender. Ineos is selling that thing at 12 million shillings. Take it or leave it. And
Yeah.
12 million is basic. And
Yeah.
the advance is at 20 million. And they were complaining, saying, oh, it's not even imported. Eh?
It's not about importation.
It's not about importation.
Yeah.
You are not their target market. If you can't go buy because it's a niche product.
Mm.
And even telling you, oh, for some extra couple hundred of thousands, we'll change the trim. I don't know, do lighting. Compare that to my basic pickup
Motorbike.
or even motorbike. It's plug and play.
Yeah.
Nothing complicated about it.
Yeah.
So it's very important for us, one, to understand the industry we are in, who is our target market. So as when we are setting our prices, we know. But it is important for us to put down our cost of product, every single bit, even purchase of stationery. It has a bearing. Now, going back to my friend with the shop, they've been buying packaging, both recyclable, hey,
Recyclable.
packaging, with recyclable packaging, both polythene and the hard paper, the recyclable paper. Guess what? They were not factoring that in
The
their
cost.
cost of production.
Um, so if I'm hearing you right, the profitability conversation is the starting line is the pricing conversation. Because if we don't price right, we don't make the profit. On
Exactly.
paper, it looks like we're making the profit, but there are other, so it's the indirect cost that often we get forgotten. Interesting.
Then you see, you would be like, oh, my neighbor, they seem to be growing. My business doesn't seem to be growing. Have we taken care of all those small costs? I'll give you a personal example. At some point when we were delivering gas products, in our excitement, sometimes you would cost and sometimes you'd say, this distance is just 5 minutes away. But 5 minutes away is still a distance, right?
Yes.
At the end of the day, when you calculate fuel costs or even delivery costs, you need to have taken that into consideration. It's
Yeah.
something that we normally forget as entrepreneurs, and it's important for us to remember, whether you're in the product or service business.
Mm.
I have gotten someone to develop my posters for me. Have I factored in those posters when I am doing my social media marketing the way we normally do? Where have we put that cost? When we're looking at it, then are we profitable?
Profitability is a
So
much wider conversation, right?
it's a much wider conversation, which we will have again. I'm hoping as a masterclass.
Mm.
Then we break it down and see. It is one of the places where you find, even for coaches and mentors and business advisors, the client is telling you, no, I know, and I know. This is my price. I am making money. Then let's calm down. Let's break it down. Because even your interest calculation, your interest payment needs to come down. If I am taking a loan to, let's say, do production, where am I putting that cost of the loan?
Well,
Interest payments will come, they will hit. And then what happens? I will run and come to Coach Chesupiri, I can't even see where my money has gone. It has disappeared. I thought I made money. Then when I went to the bank, my account was empty.
something else I'm hearing. It's also that we must track now. So, because here's profitability, doing the calculation for everything. So, for some of us, our profit will go from 50% to 2%. when we insert all our expenses and move us back to break even. However, the other thing I see as a possibility is if we track from every sale, we know 2 shillings is to interest, 2 shillings is to coach, 2 shillings is like this, like this, like this. So then we know we're able to say, like, we have sold 1,000 units. And in the price of 1,000 units, there's 2,000 for the coach, there's 2,000 for this, 2,000 for that, 2,000 for the other. So that's now where cash flow management now becomes viable. The thing I hear you saying is, like, in your example of you take your coach out for a 5-star meal, what you're doing is actually taking your capital and you're spending your capital. And then next week, when electricity is due and airtime data is needed, now you come and say, but I have to bring money in. So that place you're bringing money in, go and use that money to take your coach out, right? To cash flow management. That's profound because many of us struggle as smaller micro businesses. I think the micros do it better. Um, because theirs is so they have it's cents on the shilling to make it work. I remember watching my 20 years, 17 years in the events industry. I had my favorite florist in the market. And it's very easy to despise her location because she has a 1 meter spot square into the market. But she has educated, I think, 5 or 7 children from them. They're all working. She's a grandmother. And even the lady who sits next to her, same story. In fact, the one next to her is one who has 7 kids. This one has, I think, 4 or 5. And when you listen to them do their calculations, even as they would give me special rates as an existing and consistent client, there's a rate below which they would never go. And now I can see it clearly how they were just on a very micro level managing all their costs because I met them in the early 2000s and they're still there. They're still running these businesses. They're like, we'll retire for what? This is fun. But that brings us back to the whole conversation of if we haven't done our pricing right, then our profit is a problem and our cash flow is an even bigger challenge. So when we come to what are 2 things you would advise a business owner who's in this rat race stuck? They cannot see their profit, their cash flows are wonky. What are 2 big things they could start doing today that will shift that conversation?
Hey, I have talked a lot, and I didn't realize I was muted. Goes back to what you were talking about, tracking. Documentation is key, and that is why we began our conversations with documentation this year. When you start documenting, then you will be able to see the gaps. One, documentation will show you when your revenues are coming in, when the revenues are coming in. So that shows you when actual cash is changing hands. It shows you how cash is flowing in, how cash is flowing out. Now, that tracking and documentation will also be able to help you calculate your profitability. The cash has come in. Where did it come from? One. How many pieces of items were you able to sell to realize this cash? The cash has gone out. Where did it go? Like you said, I could be using money for stock to take you for 5-star. Now I'm able to track all those expenses. My airtime, I bought stationery. I bought gifting items. All that I'm able to put down. So I'll be able to see. One, they'll be able to track. Secondly, they'll be able to project. Those are the two big things that they need to do. They'll be able to project. And what are they projecting? They're projecting their sales and projecting their expenses. By projecting expenses, let's say even 3 months or 6 months, you will know every month I need cash for utilities, cash for rent, cash for logistics, cash for stock. When I look at it this way, then it helps me be able to see how my cash flows are going to be 3 or 6 months from now. What does that do? It comes back to the conversation we had with you. Am I selling enough? And have I priced right? I could be selling, but have I priced right? That pricing conversation that you're talking about, that is one thing that they can start doing immediately. There are various ways they can do this. As you and I always say, either use a handbook if you're technologically advanced, or use Google Sheets to help you be able to do this. If you are not, or if you can afford, there are affordable software now, like that one for our partner Solbuy, there's Kuza. There are different softwares that a business owner can be able to use. And the good thing is that before, you see, the software was only for products. Now software is also working for services.
Excellent. It's profoundly simple, but also complex. This whole profitability conversation, because what I'm hearing is we must know, and to know is from the perspective of tracking and projecting. Sometimes we go into business thinking it will just be easy, money will just flow in and flow out, and we'll be millionaires in 3 days, 1 year. And then we get in, and there's 6 months of pulling teeth. And you're like, oh my goodness. And it's pulling teeth without anesthesia. It's painful. And what I hear consistently from businesses is business is so hard. So as your parting shot, what is the mindset we must cultivate so that we start pursuing and really accomplishing profitability from day one? Oh, and do you believe we can be profitable? Can we make a profit from day one?
You can make a profit from day one, depending on your product. It's all about your product. There are businesses, even in the first month, they've broken even, they are profitable. I'll give you an example why I say that. You and I have tried hooking and have observed hookers. True story.
That we need to tell those stories.
Yeah, we have tried and we've observed hookers. And you and I know that it's a business that I will start with 1,000 shillings, and by evening I can have 2,000 or 3,000, depending on what it is I'm selling, right? So that is possible. I can develop very interesting fashion pieces that I will sell and I will immediately make a profit. You and I know that is also possible. It depends, again, with what it is you're selling. Remember, whenever we are having this, like, do we call them bake sales or cook sales or exhibitions? Or it's a one-day affair, and I have 100 cakes. How did I price my cakes? Who am I selling them to? It's possible for that particular day to be profitable. Then there are those that will take time, like especially the capital intensive businesses, and the ones which you are looking at this product being in the market for a period of not less than 24, 36 months, because you have to do different iterations. That would also take long. So it is possible to be profitable immediately. My parting shot on mindset. The business is yours. The product is yours. It is possible for you to grow that product. It is possible for you to scale that product. Track from the word go. How much have you put in to develop that product? And you put down all the costs associated with production. That will enable you be able to price right. And by pricing right, you'll be able to make a profit. And as you're making a profit, you will also know when to give credit, when not to give credit, so that you can always have positive cash flows.
Price right, manage credit, and have positive cash flows. Thank you, Joe. It's always a pleasure.
I think for this one, as you wrap it up, when you are talking and you are asking questions and you are picking ideas, I think it needs a masterclass. But we
It
will
does.
discuss that. Yeah.
It
Thank
does
you.
because we start from pricing all the way
Yeah.
to documentation. It's interesting how documentation on the reverse can restructure thinking. It's interesting how that happens. But yes, we will do a masterclass, and we will likely have a mastermind that will come from that masterclass. And what we want to do is help you as a business owner put in the work, because when we do the work, we actually get the success. So from us at the African MSME Collective, it is thank you for watching. We are grateful to be part of your life, your growth, your space. Let us know. So come back to the comment section. Let us know what you tried and how it worked. And also let us know what topics you would like us to cover. We're not static because we are adapting to our community. And if you'd like to be in our community, the link will be in the bio. We have an ongoing community of engaged people. If you're not willing to do the work, please don't join because it's work. It's not a community of just goodies. We are diligently working. Yes, Joe, don't hold your head like that. You know we work. Every week we're putting in and tracking effort. So thank you for your time. We look forward to hear your growth stories and above all, go out and build a sustainable and profitable business because the generations behind you deserve to be left with something that they can continue to grow. That's it from us at the African MSME Collective. See you on the next show.